Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meissner. As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meissner begins in 1918, following the Bright family as they move to Philadelphia to have a fresh start with their life. Their new dreams are cut short just months after their arrival as the Spanish flu hits their town. But even as people die around them, they discover a baby who has been orphaned because of the disease, and the Bright family gets a renewed sense of hope and purpose amidst the tragedy. First of all, before I get going, I did win this book through the Goodreads giveaways, so thank you very much, Goodreads. I'm very glad that I won this book. This is a historical fiction novel. You guys know how much I love historical fiction, but you know, I can't pick up every historical fiction book out there, so I'm glad that this is something that I won because I don't know when I would have got around to it, to be quite honest. I might have never gotten around to it, so I'm glad it's something that I won that kind of forced me to read it. So yeah, I really liked this novel. I found it a very compelling historical novel set during the 1918 Spanish flu, and yeah, it follows this family who moves to Philadelphia. They have these dreams that they want to go on with, and yeah, here comes the tragedy of the flu, and if you know anything about the Spanish flu, lots of people died. Lots and lots and lots of people died because of this disease. It was really horrific. And yeah, it is. It's about this family, the Brights, and yeah, their determination to get through this flu, even though just tragedy after tragedy keeps happening around them, and yeah, their determination to keep their family intact, and yeah, the things that they have to do in order to do that, and yeah, they find a baby, this poor baby who has been orphaned because of the flu. They take in this baby, and yeah, there's this whole plot that's wrapped around this baby and how it gets into their lives and what it means to all of them individually and whatnot. And yeah, I just, like I said, I really found this to be a compelling novel, really great historic details. The Spanish flu is something that I'm familiar with it to some degree, but I've never, you know, read deeply into it, and I don't think I've ever read a novel about the Spanish flu, to be quite honest. This is kind of my first experience with it, so it was kind of just something new and different for me in regards to historical fiction. But yeah, a very compelling novel with great historical details. I felt like I was learning something. Yeah, it's a novel about love and death. And even though there is all of this death going on around the family, the novel also has some huge themes of forgiveness and hope. They're very pivotal, those two themes in particular. And there's something about the book that it's kind of uplifting. You know, I know it's a book about the Spanish flu, but at the end of the day, at the end of this book, there's something kind of hopeful and uplifting, and something that kind of makes you feel good in some ways. And I want to read something that's at the end in the author's note by Susan Meissner. I think what she writes in particular in her author's note, I think it perfectly sums up what you're getting with this book and what to expect. Death comes for us all in one way or another. It is a certainty. Our lives will end one day, and most of us never know when. Interestingly enough, it is our morality that gives our existence its value and beauty. If our days were not numbered, we probably wouldn't care how we spent them. How does this knowledge that we are mortal affect our choices, the risks we take, the risks we don't? These were the questions I wanted to explore as I wrote this book, and what I wanted you to ponder as you read it. And yeah, what I just quoted right there, like I said, it's from Susan Meissner with her author's note, and I feel like that just perfectly sums up what you're getting with this book, and yeah, what I'm trying to express with my thoughts here about this book, you know, being about love and death, but something about forgiveness and hope at the same time. This novel can perhaps feel a bit heavy-handed. At times, it can perhaps feel a bit over sentimental. I think that's what Susan Meissner is definitely trying to draw out of you. And yeah, the thing is, it can be over sentimental in some ways. But I don't think it's ever, like, super cheesy. You know what I mean? But I think that's okay to have some over-sentimental value in some ways with this book, because we have so many dark, depressing books out there, and it's kind of refreshing to have a book that, you know, it does take place during the Spanish flu, but like I keep repeating, there's a sense of hope and forgiveness and something uplifting about the book, and it's kind of refreshing to have a book that focuses on those particular themes, to have some sort of happy meaning and purpose to it, I suppose. So, to get to my minor complaints about this novel, seriously, it's a very minor complaint. Overall, like I said, I really liked and enjoyed this book. I especially liked the first half of this book. The first half takes place in 1918 during the Spanish flu, and we're following the Bright family as the Spanish flu is happening. And yeah, I really liked how Susan Meissner took her time with that particular bit of the narrative. But then after the 1918 section, the novel does take a time jump to 1925, years after the flu. And yeah, now the children have kind of grown up a little bit. They're having new life experiences. Different things are happening in their lives. And I liked this second half of the novel as well, but something about the second half felt very rushed and very quick. Like I said, Susan Meissner took really delicate care and time with the Spanish flu happening. And yeah, the events in the second half in 1925 just rapidly happen and occur, and things are they just kind of happen. It's all there, all at once in your face, and it's like, oh my goodness. Especially romantic relationships. Let me kind of get that out of the way. There's several romantic relationships that kind of occur and spring into being in the 1925 time jump. And yeah, those relationships, they kind of just happen, and they're kind of forced to happen. You know, they're not really given any sort of gradual build up or lead in some ways. You kind of just have to go with it. You're kind of forced into the relationships. So yeah, this book, it does provide a narrative. If you want to look on the bright side of things, it does provide a narrative that moves very rapidly and very quickly, and I never felt like things were slow or boring, which is a good thing, you know. I felt like there was always something interesting going on with these characters. Now, there is one element of this novel that is very predictable. It is far and away the most predictable thing I have ever read in a novel, but that didn't, you know, take away from me enjoying this novel. If anything, I kind of looked forward to the moment when certain things would be revealed, and I could be like, ha, I knew that as the reader, I knew that was coming. So yeah, there is a bit of predictability, and once you figure out a certain plot twist, you definitely have the whole rest of the novel figured. It's just like that. You connect steps A, B, C, and D. You can connect it all the way to the end of this novel. So yeah, it can be a bit predictable, especially near the end, but that's okay, because I still really looked forward to the reveals actually coming into fruition. So yeah, overall, you guys, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I'm really glad that I won it on Goodreads. Like I mentioned earlier, I felt like I learned something about the Spanish flu of 1918. I really enjoyed being in the points of view of all of these characters. That's another thing I didn't say. The novel is told through 3 different points of view, through the 3 girls in the Bright family. And yeah, I think all 3 girls had distinct personalities and interests and whatnot. And yeah, I liked how the novel was kind of structured like that with the 3 points of view. I really liked Susan Meissner's writing and her style and just her flow and whatnot. And like I said, it was never dull or boring, and I felt like she did the historic research and whatnot. And I think I would definitely like to continue reading some books from her in the future. So you guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.